right, kiddos, this is going to be something a little different. I need you to turn to page 235, please, in your math book. Of course, you're going to be doing a lot of pausing during this video, which I expect you to do that just so you can get the practice of the problem before you come back and check your answers with Miss Hill. So right now, math book, page 235. You can pause the video and then hit play when you have your book out. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to read and try to solve the problem below. It says, what is the product of 3 and 254? Now, the key word here is product. If you're thinking of that word product, that means the answer to a multiplication problem. So, if you can think here, 3 times 254 is going to give me what product? So what I would like you to do is pause the video, try this on your own, and then come back and check your answer. So go ahead, pause your video. All right, hopefully you have had time to work on this. So when we do this and we break down 254, it's going to be 200 plus 50 plus 4. And what we're going to do is we're now going to multiply each value with the factor 3. So we're going to have 200 times 3 plus 50 times 3 plus 4 times 3. Now, you might have a different setup. That's fine. This is just the way Miss Hill is going to do it. Okay, so we multiply 200 times 3 gives us 600. 50 times 3 is 150. And 4 times 3 is 12. Now all we have to do is add up all of these partial products. And 762 is the product. Okay, so the product is 762. Hopefully you got that right. All right, moving on, next page. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about different ways to understand multiplying a 3-digit number by a 1-digit number. So, same problem, we're going to look at 3. What is the product of 3 and 254? Now, if you notice here, they have created an array using base 10 blocks. You see that each piece is 254. Here's 254, here's 254, here's 254. Hence why it's done 3 times. Now, if you notice down here in red, it's showing 600s. Well, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there are 600s. All right, if we go look at our tens, well, here's 5, and here's 5 for 15 tens. And then 4 ones, and 4 ones. Well, 3 fours give me 12 ones. So then 600 value is 600. 15 tens is 150. And 12 ones is just 12. Again, that's using an array model. All right, if you look at the second model, you can also multiply using partial products. We talked about that word in groups yesterday. What is happening here is they are multiplying 3 times 4 to get 12. And then they're multiplying 3 times 5 tens to get 150. And then 3 times 2 to get 600. And then they're wanting you to find that unknown. So specifically here, it says the partial products are 12, 150, and 600. These right here are your partial products. Okay, so the product is the sum of the partial products. So your final answer is when you add up all of those partial products together. All right, move to the next page. It says, now you will use the problem from the previous page to help you understand how to multiply 3-digit numbers by 1-digit numbers. So it says, in the first model what do the numbers 600, 150, and 12 in the equation below the array represent? So what do these numbers down here, represent? All right, pause the video and write a response. hopefully you said something along the lines that 600 represents 3 times 200. 150 represents the 3 times 15 10, or 3 times 5 tens, which is 50. And the number 12 represents 4 times, or 3 times 4. All right, number 2. How can you find the product of 3 and 254 in the first modulet? So in the first modulet, how would you find the product? What would you do? How would you find the product of this modulet right here? Pause your video and make your sentence. Right. Hopefully you're telling me to add the hundreds, tens, and ones. In other words, 600 plus 150 plus 12. All right, number 3 says, where do you see the 600s, 15 tens, and 12 ones in the second modulet? So where do we see the 600s, the 15 tens, and the 12 ones in the second modulet? All right, well, if you notice, here is your 600s. Here are your 15 tens, and here are your 12 ones. And that happens to be the partial products. Okay, so the 600s, 15 tens, and 12 ones are the partial products. Of 600, 150, and 12. As always, you can pause the video. I am asking that you do write down everything that Ms. Hill is writing. Pause the video at any time. All right, number 4. What is the sum of the partial products in the second modulet? Pause the video, add those up. The second modulet, you're adding up these partial products right here in the middle. Add those up and see what you get. If you paused the video and came back, you should have 762 as the partial product. Now, along with any answer, we like to check for reasonableness. Now, we can use estimation to check that your answer is reasonable. All right, so let's think. How would you round 254 times 3? All right, so think about 254. What's that super close to? All right, well, my brain instantly goes to 250. All right, so if we do 250 times 3, well, that's easy. You can come over here and just do 253 times, or you can simply add that up together mentally for 750. So when you see there 750 is super close to your 762, which makes it reasonable. Again, always pause the video if you need to. All right, number 6, we can just kind of talk about this one. It says, how do both models show breaking apart a factor to multiply? All right, so both of your models break apart the factor 254. Here they break down 254, and here they're going to break down that 254 there. This one is just done by place value using base 10 blocks, and modulet number 2 is using the place value of each digit in the number. Okay, so 2 different models, 2 different ways to use multiplication. All right, we're going to skip number 7. Go ahead and go to number 8. And number 8 says, use what you just learned to solve these problems. All right, so we're going to go ahead and solve 2 times 163. 2 times 163. You can either draw this, or you can simply use that partial product strategy that we had going on. So we're going to do 163 times 2. I'm going to show this in base 10 first. So if I have 163, I need to do this 2 times. Here's 100. I need 6 tens. And then I need 3 ones. All right, I can see that here I have 200. I have 12 tens, which would be 120. And then I have 6 ones. Okay, so I have the partial product of 200 plus 120 plus 6. And if you need to, you can add this up this way. And 326 is your product. So 2 times 163 equals 326. Now I am going to do this another way. I'm going to set this up vertically. Now what I'm going to do first is 3 times 2, which is going to give me 6. And then I'm going to do 2 times 6 tens. Okay, it's 2 times 6 tens, which is 60. So this one, partial product, is going to be 120. And then last, you're going to do 2 ones times 100. So that is 2 times 100, which is going to give you 200. And then you're going to add those up, and looky there, you get the same answer. All right, you see down here, 200, 120, 6. 200, 120, and 6. It's the same thing, just 2 different strategies. Okay, I want you to try number 9. Pause the video and try to complete number 9, and then come back and check your answer. Pause your video now. Okay, hopefully you have done this one. I am going to set this one up vertically and use partial products. So I'm going to do 5 times 8 ones, which gives me 40. I'm then going to do 5 times 3 tens, which was 150. And then I'm going to do 5 times 700. Now, always, if you have to go over here and set this up, that is not a big deal. You can do that. And that is going to be 3,500. All right, you have 3 partial products. We're going to add these together. Okay, all right, the product is 3,690. All right, if we want to estimate this, well, we kind of already did that, didn't we? If you estimate 738 to 700, 700 times 5 is 3,500, which is super close. So yes, it is reasonable. All right, number 10, what is the product of 859 and 7? Show your work. 859 and 7. Find the product. All right, so pause the video. Give it a try. Pause your video. Give it a try. All right, once again, I am going to set this up vertically and use partial products. All right, so we have 7 times 9. If you've done your 9s trick, that is going to be 63. All right, and then 7 times 5 tens. So if you need to come over here and set that up, you can do 7 times 5/10, which is 50. And this one is partial product is going to be 350. And then your last step is 7 times 800. 7 times 800. If you counted by 7s or you counted by 8s, you should have gotten 56. 800 has 2 zeros, so your answer must have 2 zeros for 5,600. 3 partial products, add those together, and the product is 6,013. Okay. All right. So your green pages, if you've gotten this far, what I would like you to do is you have 5 problems. I would like you to try to go through, pause the video, and go through all of the 5 problems and then come back and check your answers. So pause your video, do all 5 of your questions, and then come back and check your work. So pause your video, all 5 questions. All right, so number 1, look at the multiplication above. Use partial products to find 2 times 546. Fill in the boxes. All right, so we have 546 times 2. All right, so if we're looking here, 2 times 6 is 12. All right, then you have 2 times 4 tens. 2 times 4 tens. 4 tens is actually the number 40, so 2 times 40 would be 80. And then your last partial product is going to be 2 times 5 hundreds. 2 times 5 hundreds is 1,000. So then you add the partial products up for the product of 1,092. All right, number 2, I'm going to use, it just says to show your work. So I am going to use base 10 blocks. All right, so I'm going to show my 100 in each one. I have 3 10s in each one. And then I have 2 1s in each one. So then I'm just going to add up my base 10 blocks here. So I have 1, 2, 300. I have 3, 6, 9 10s. And 2, 4, 6 1s. I'm going to add these up, and I got 396. Now, you did not have to use the base 10 blocks. You could have used any of the 3 strategies that we have talked about with multiplication. All right, moving to number 3. A parking garage has 6 levels. Each level has 136 parking spaces. How many parking spaces does the parking garage have in all? Show your work. All right, so this should be speaking the language of multiplication to you. All right, so here we go. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 3 10s would be 180. 6 times 100 is 600. 3 partial products, add them up. 816 parking spaces. All right, number 4, find the product of 483 times and 7. Okay, estimate to check that your answer is reasonable. All right, so once again, following through with the steps, 7 times 3 1s, it's going to give me 21. 7 times 8 10s, which is 7 times 80, which is 560. And then you have 7 times 400, which is 7 times 4 is 28. 400 has 2 zeros, so your answer has to have 2 zeros. So 2,800. Add the partial products up. 3,381. All right, if we estimate 483, that is closest to 500. So if we do 500 times 7 to get 3,500, yes, I would say that those two numbers are most definitely reasonable. All right, this is our favorite type of question. We like to find the mistake in the multiplication problem. Make sure you explain what mistake is made, then find the correct product. All right, so it looks like 607 times 4. Let's see what happens here. All right, so if I do 4 times 7 ones, I'm going to get 28. All right, so it looks like they did that. And if I do 4 times 0 tens, well, that's just 0. All right, and then if I do 4 times 600, I get 2,400. Oh. So the 0 here actually doesn't, we don't have to put the 0 here. You don't have to, but I like to, just to show that you multiplied through by the tens place. But if you look down here in that last partial product, you will find that the mistake is they wrote the product of 4 and 600 as 240 instead of 2,400. So the product of 4 and 600 is written as 240 instead of 2,400. They forgot that extra 0 there. So if we go along with our partial product, right, the correct product is 2,428 for number 5.